You are listening to the This Life podcast with Dr. Drew Pinsky and me, Mike Catherwood.
That's right. We're doing it this time. So check it out. Thanks for listening.
You live.
That's right. You live, everybody. And our special guest host, Ginger Gonzaga, is in here with us. Ginger,
hi.
hey, welcome. And this is all brought to you by courtesy of the Last House Sober Living. As I said, one of the previous podcasts, I don't know if we have a number on that, Miss Producer. We interviewed the clinical manager there and was very impressed with the work they're doing. And they are supporting us, and we are supporting them. They're in Los Angeles. But 44-bed unit, if I remember right. And it's a no-nonsense place, which, it's not frills. And nor should it ever, it not should necessarily be. It should be uncomfortable, and it should be hard work, and it should be sustained over a long period of time. Also, our friends at Hydra Light is hydrating tablets, effervescent tablets that you put in your water. Yeah, show Ginger with that. And it'll replace fluids the way an IV fluid can. I conceived, this isn't my product, but I conceived it one time a long time ago, and I thought finally somebody's got it.
If you could put it.
And
on
you know where they
Shark
came
Tank.
from? Australia.
Really?
Crikey, mate!
They dominate in Australia, so they should here as well.
Real corker.
And one more thing, before you do anything else, hit your DVR for Monday, November 20th. Elizabeth Smart questions answered on A&E TV. I sit down with Elizabeth Smart and talk to her after the documentary, which will air on both sides of that interview I do. And it's pretty powerful. So I recommend it highly. She's an amazing woman with an unbelievable, breathtaking story. It just blew me away.
And then December 5th.
Oh, December 5th, Mike and I will be at the Ice House in Pasadena. So be there for another live podcast. Ginger might show up.
Nope.
I'll be there.
Emily's coming for sure.
No
Rudy
women
might show up.
Nope.
Mike might do a little stand up at the beginning of it.
That is going to happen.
Mike's gonna do stand up at the beginning of it.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yay.
And his stand up is gross. You got to see it.
Really?
That's called an endorsement. Ginger has got I'm Dying up here on Showtime. It's also, you can see it on Hulu. It's produced by Jim Carrey. You can follow Ginger at gingergonzaga.com, also at Ginger the Jester. I think that's isn't that your Instagram also?
That's my everything.
Everything. And what's going on behind me? There's lots of action going on here. You having trouble on Facebook?
I can't find it.
It's live, folks. It's live.
Facebook Live. That's what we call it, Facebook Live. Now, but Ginger, we two more things. We got the Dimitri Martin film Dean. Tell us about that.
Yes,
That's on
it's
Netflix.
a wonderful dramedy about losing a parent. It's with Gillian Jacobs, Kevin Kline, who won an Oscar, and Dimitri and Rory Scovel, and it's on Netflix.
Rory's a funny dude, man. Rory is
he's the best, but of
super
course,
talented.
like all my guy friends, my boyfriend has since stolen him from me.
Oh.
And now they're besties, and I'm like, yeah.
Is that who he's going to the museum with right now?
Different one, I know.
And Kevin Kline, I mean,
He's so amazing and just the nicest. Mary Steenburgen as well.
I'm always amazed that Kevin Kline's not doing something every day.
I know.
Like there's not something we turn to every day to watch of his work because it's just so enriching every time.
Might be by choice because he's too talented. Yeah.
He's too talented, right?
Yeah.
Is he got anything coming up or?
I don't know what else he has right now. I just know he's the nicest human on the planet.
Yeah,
and
those
such
of
a
you,
beautiful actor.
Fish Called Wanda, Schindler's, Sophie's Choice.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just ridiculous.
And Dean.
All right, and now Ginger has her own short film that I tell you is an important film. You can watch it right now after we finish this podcast at yourdayfilm.org. We are not going to tell you what it's about because it unfolds in front of your eyes, and it too is a breathtaking film, frankly, mostly because the subject matter is so interesting to approach it the way you did, and it's just so interesting to me. Obviously, it's something I deal with and thought a lot about and stuff, but she and Jason Ritter, their performance on it is just ridiculous. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Just
I got
ridiculous.
so lucky with him, and we had never worked together. It was just magic.
Is he looking for other stuff for you to do?
I know.
No, because you together was the
Oh my
thing.
gosh. I know. I definitely wrote that with him in mind, so that
But
helped.
if I were him, I'd be like, well, now what else can we do?
Yeah. I'm sure we'll work
He's
together
really,
again.
really talented. We were watching his new show. What is it?
Kevin Saves the World. He can
and
do comedy and drama.
My
It's
wife was
amazing.
commenting. He's like, that is just, there's a gift where it doesn't look like someone's trying even at all. They're just existing as this character, and that he really has that.
Well, aside from Ginger's film, I like him on Drunk History. So.
Yeah, see, that's like so broad. And all.
How come we at least let you do that next
I
season?
need to do that. I need to lobby for it.
We've lost Ginger's mic, seemingly. Try it again. Lobby for Drunk History?
Hello, I need
No,
to
we don't have. There you are.
On
You're
Drunk
back.
History. Put me on.
All right, so I'm not
it.
kidding. Go watch Your Day film at Your Day. It's called at yourdayfilm.org.
Yeah.
Mike's going to watch it as soon as we
I am.
finish the
I
podcast.
promise.
He already promised. I can't
And,
wait to tweet it.
I'm going to watch right after I watch Two Girls, One Cup for the fourth time.
And Ginger, what are you doing with your time these days, other than making films and writing films?
Trying to sell TV shows.
You writing them?
Yeah, one I'm
scripted.
just pitching. Another one I'm writing because it's an anthology, and I'm not famous enough to sell an anthology.
By anthology, explain what you mean.
Anthology, like Black Mirror's an anthology. What are the Ryan Murphy shows?
And you would write all the different.
I want to, yeah. So
why
I'm
did
finishing
you
that
famous
right
to
now.
sell an anthology?
That's just like, you know what? I find it's doubly hard for me when I pitch shows because if I were to just go in the room as a girl, it'd be one thing, but I also go in as an actress, and people are just like, why is this actress coming here thinking she can write?
Actress.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you brought it up and put it that way, because, Mike, we need to gang up on Ginger here a little bit.
Ooh,
If you insist.
child.
All right, gonna take my pants
she knows.
off.
I think she knows where I'm going to go, because she's smart enough to know where where I'm going, because she always hides her smarts.
Oh, well, hey, I wouldn't have a therapist if you hadn't said that to me.
That's a chick thing. Yeah, you shouldn't do that.
I think it's a Filipino and chick thing,
I
right?
think it's my
Filipina.
mom was batshit crazy, and I got in trouble if I did well. So
What?
She got jealous or something?
Yes, very narcissistic.
Oh,
That's
personality.
weird.
So I'm glad you have
Yeah.
a therapist, because that needs to be overcome.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's hard.
'cause
If
when
you
I-
want to borrow my mom for like a week, you'd be fine. Because all she did was tell me what a shithead I was for not being a good student.
Well, Ginger, on the other hand, like, just hides out reading law books in her free time.
I like
I'm not
big
kidding.
cases.
I'm not kidding.
And you know what? Let me suggest a book. This isn't a law book, but it deals with that. It's called
Mein
Just
Kampf.
Mercy, and it's amazing. And I think it won awards. And I wanted to make it into a film, and some writer just got it before I did.
Oh.
No.
Yeah.
But if you want to know what's smart about Ginger, watch that film. Your Day. All right. Speaking of smart, this is a very worthy project we're going to talk about right now, and I watched it today, and I was delighted by it. It's called The Lonely Italian, a film by Lee Farmer. Lee, welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, and introduce your star here.
This is The Lonely Italian, Domenico Nesci.
Hi, thank you for having us. Thank you.
Jesus, that's loud.
It is?
Oh.
I used to work for a radio station in Italy.
Yeah, with that voice?
With this voice.
Oh,
Now,
my God.
10,000 euro a month plus expenses. That was a great job.
Do you guys want to explain what the conceit was? Because I get it. That film, I got it immediately, and you stayed with it from the moment I started watching.
So basically, this is a hybrid narrative documentary. I get the easiest comparison is to Borat in the sense that there is a section of it that is real, and then there is a section of it that's scripted. And in Domenico's case, it's about him. You know, not a character based on him, but actually him.
Now, are you amplifying some of your characteristics, or is that just you as you are?
No, he's just Italian.
No, that's I'm just to tell you right. That's how I am.
Because there's sometimes. So explain what you
Well,
have.
so he, in real life, was having trouble meeting women in America, being from Italy, and the way that Italians meet women is they just approach them and say, "Hello, you are very beautiful. I would like to make sweet love to you."
And I'm like, get out of here.
No, but
Right.
it worked a lot when I moved here from Italy. At the beginning, I had lots of these encounters with women, and it was very successful. But then something switched. Later on, in like few years later, I realized that it wasn't as easy as it used to be.
and now you
Women's
get arrested.
movement.
yeah, now you get
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was literally, it was technology. It was the fact with smartphones and things like that. Now we're always looking down at our devices, and we're not looking at the world around them, which is toxic for someone whose, sole reason for being is, human contact with the opposite sex. So, and I'll tell you how, the genesis of the project, but we really had him join every online dating website in America, and followed him on these dates for, I think it took a year to do
Year and
these
a half.
dates, year and a half.
How did you get these women to agree to let you film?
Well, that was the part that was. Let me just put a little finer point on that. I wondered if they knew they were being filmed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, they
because-
have to.
And I didn't know if either it was hidden and they got the
consent
thing
later,
afterwards,
yeah.
or that was part of the conceit that they were
Exactly.
setting up,
And that's the thing is because now the line has gotten blurred between documentary and reality show.
Yep. Sure.
And so my background is I was a writer and co-executive producer of The Soup for 11 years. So
I'm sorry about Joel McHale.
And that's where I met Drew for the first time.
I apologize. I believe one of the encounters you and I had were in his office, which was piled
It was our office.
on high
Yeah.
with garbage.
Yeah.
And
Oh my
underneath the
God.
garbage is an arsenal of knives and swords.
Yes, that is absolutely true. Joel and I shared an
You're a big old
office
nerd.
of the 11 years, the first 4 years until he got too famous to actually share an office with someone.
Or even do the soup anymore.
Yeah, or even do the soup.
Yeah.
Or even show up for more than 3 hours a week.
Listen, I gladly would have picked up the baton.
Because and to his
Just
credit,
read that prompter that you
to
guys
his
write
credit,
so brilliantly.
he was every bit as good. In some cases, even better when he wasn't there because he didn't see the stuff beforehand, and he would
laugh,
have a
yeah.
genuine
You're right.
reaction.
You're right.
So they were kind of different shows in a way, but no one better than the other. But yeah, his office was literally just a repository for all the free shit that he used to get for years and years.
And it seemed like documents and things all
Yeah.
piled
Oh,
up.
yeah.
By the way, I see Tommy all the time over there.
You do?
He's still he had a heart attack along the way here.
Yeah. It's
he's
just
great,
the
though.
greatest crew, and
Yeah.
it was such a joy for 11 years. But so actually, that's how I met Domenico. Domenico was on 2 reality shows on MTV.
Yep.
Like 5 minutes after he got to this country, he was like, "Oh, I'll go to
It
this."
was literally like the first audition I did, coming from Italy and being a stage actor, wanted to be a stage actor also here, was a reality show, a trashy one. And
Which ones?
The first one was a Shut a Lot with Tila Tequila, which back in
Oh my
2007 was the
God.
most watched show on MTV.
And the trashiest reality
It
show.
was bad.
Yeah,
It was,
I
but-
mean,
but- and I mean, I'm from the south of Italy, and all I'm picturing, because they said to me, it's like it's a reality show where there is a playmate looking for love online.
Right.
I mean, looking for love on TV. And when you think about a playmate, I mean, coming from Italy, you think about a blonde woman with
Yeah.
big teats.
Yeah.
I don't know, it was a midget from Vietnam that was
bisexual.
I mean, it wasn't my. But then, she was attractive at the end of the day. She wasn't exactly what I pictured to be, but she was attractive.
Yeah.
But I didn't know
This
that.
is pre-Nazi, by the way.
Yes.
This is before she came out as a
this
Nazi.
is before she came
she's
out
not
in
a
front of
Nazi.
the insane clown posse as being a Nazi.
Right,
yes.
right.
Oh my god.
Oh, she's a juggalo and a Nazi.
No, no,
Oh,
no. Juggalos have nothing to do with
Yeah,
her.
no.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's just that is where it was exposed in,
I see.
in
Yeah.
another real life Borat kind of situation. Yes.
Oh, no.
Go ahead.
But
Sid.
I had no clue that she was bisexual, and all I'm thinking is my grandma in the south of Italy watching women making out as they're watching their grandson on TV, which apparently I realized that as long as you're on TV, you can do whatever. You didn't care at all about women hooking
No,
up. And
yeah,
Just
certainly
you're on
grandmas
TV, it's
don't.
all
Yeah.
that counted.
But he was a legitimate standout on the show, and then MTV gave him
They
his
gave him a
own show.
spin-off.
Back then, all you needed to get your own show on MTV was a social security number.
Right.
Oh, which you
No,
didn't even have.
you know what?
That's
I
true.
didn't have one. No, they actually changed the rules because to be on TV, you needed to be an American, have a green card at least. And I didn't have one. I had a working permit through my school. Through
MTV will get around that.
Oh,
don't you?
yeah.
Yeah,
So
I know.
they spent quite a few money actually to give me a spin-off that was an Italian Bachelor on MTV,
And it was called.
it was called That's Amore.
And every time they'd interview him, they had a red and white checkered tablecloth. And behind him was Italian meats. It was like sopressata,
Meats and salamis hanging as a
salami.
background.
Not
my
bottles,
God.
bottles in baskets.
Yeah,
Those
exactly.
that
It was-
probably offended your Nona more
Yeah.
than the bisexuality.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
what-
true.
well, to be fair, what part of Italy were you from? Is that the part representative of a part of Italy you were even from?
Yeah, actually, and they because it is because it's
Sicily.
the tablecloth like that, and it's grandma still makes those things.
Right.
She cures the cheese and makes the capicola and salami.
Nice.
So it was, but he was, and he used to come onto the soup wearing these Speedos with the Italian flag. The funny thing was, we were a green screen show, so the green right in the middle of his balls.
Oh my
just
I
God.
never had
would
balls in
key
the
out.
show. Like it was like blurred, like you couldn't see anything. It was like I was missing that part of my body.
So you did that, and then this was the next logical
No,
incarnation.
So, and then he his 15 minutes were
Well,
up,
no, in
I'm
the
sorry to
States,
say.
because I started working for Italian networks, which they pay way less than the States, but
Yeah.
I did actually serious work there. I did whatever
Yeah.
Anthony Bourdain does in the States, I was doing it for Italy.
You're doing Anthony like about food.
Well, was more political, but funny at the same time. It was more like Parts Unknown now than what I used to be doing, like on just pure food.
Got it. Interesting.
Yeah. I did a bunch of series, and then I said, okay, let's. And I did radio. I did the Kiss FM of Italy, and then I said, okay, now it's time to start doing something in the States again. And that's when I was frustrated about dating. After I was done with TV and women weren't throwing themselves to me anymore, because so they could tell their friends that they had sex with somebody from MTV. That's the truth, unfortunately. Now I'm lonely and I can't find nobody to go out.
So we lost touch for a couple years. Lost touch. We were never in
Never,
touch. Right? So
yeah.
we were never friends. So
Were you involved with those productions?
No. We just used to make fun of it on the soup, and so
I
I
see.
knew he was a naturally funny person.
I
He was
see.
a good
Extremely
sport
funny.
when he would come onto the soup. So he emailed me out of the blue in 2013 saying, I would love to talk to you about a very exciting project. And I thought, oh, God, like I just wanted to run screaming. It was like, all right, he's trying to get to the 16th minute or the 17th minute. And my wife, who's kind of my conscience, was like, stop being such a schmuck. Stop being so high and mighty. You think this guy is funny. Talk to him and see what he has in mind.
To him, yeah.
And he had done so much research about online dating. I had been married at that point for 7 years. And he showed up, and the thing is, Domenico's kind of an idiot.
Extreme, but a smart one.
But he's the smartest idiot you'll ever see. So he showed up with all this research.
Is that what you call me, Mike?
I was gonna say you're wrong because Drew is the smartest dumb guy ever.
Oh, okay.
Drew's a fucking idiot.
Yeah,
but he's somehow got a 200 IQ. I don't know.
he's the dumbest smart guy or the smartest dumb guy?
Either or.
Okay,
you
fine.
choose.
So he'd done all this research and about statistics and how many people are doing online dating.
And I dated a lot of women in 6 months just to see how online dating worked. And I feel like it was a crazy jungle. Online dating is a jungle. It's insane.
Yeah. So we concocted this idea of let's make it a personal journey. Let's have you join every online dating site.
And it comes off a little Borat-esque. It's like a little fish out of water. Like, what's this guy doing? Well, he looks like he's from a different. He feels like it's from a different culture. So he seems a little lost, a little bit with the dating. We have a clip. I have questions about several of the interactions you had, but let's see what's on this clip. This is a clip from The Lonely Italian. I don't know. Let's watch it.
Originally called Boravioli.
Oh, the doggy date.
This one.
Oh, yeah.
About a year and a half.
Can you hear it?
I got him when he was like 6.
Oh my God. Well, we'll
weeks. How about
pantomime it.
Gina.
This is him. So he's joined.
Oh, make a cazzo boy. Would like to have a sex with me? Yes.
So he has joined a website called Date Me, Date My Pet.
For dog lovers.
For dog lovers, except he doesn't own a dog.
And I'm allergic to dogs.
And he's allergic and afraid. So he has, right before this, he has gone out and borrowed a friend's dog.
A
bulldog who he has named Gina. So he is now on the date.
And it's not a girl.
And I have no clue about anything about animals, so I'm telling her that we just went on a run with my dog for 7 miles.
And then you've had the dog since you were 6 and you're 32.
Yeah.
So the dog is 26 and,
The oldest bulldog in history.
Yeah. And then...
that dog's never run 7 miles in its life.
He's also got a gigantic Johnson.
Yeah.
And he then, when the woman points that out, he tries to convince her that it's...
Who, Domenico or the dog?
Both.
But she's talking about the dog in this particular scene. There they go over to look at it, and Domenico tries to convince her that that's actually his clitoris.
Which he says clitortis. He doesn't.
Clitoris.
Now you know what
Like
to
a
say.
turtle.
Yeah, he was like, no, that's a very big clitoris.
How do you say it in Italian?
Clitoride. Is that true? Sound bad.
Sounds like a
That's why I was saying it in Italian.
What shape is that
I
pasta?
hate
Say it again.
Clitoride.
It sounds like one of Caesar's lieutenants.
It sounds like it. Tonight we have a very nice clitoride marinara.
It is a Latin-based language, after all.
So, so we had filmed all these, and we kind of backed ourselves into making a movie. We didn't know what it was going to turn out to be. But to answer your question, the women knew it was important to me that this not be a reality show. If they didn't know they were being filmed beforehand, that's a reality show, and it's filmed with GoPros and hidden cameras, and then you're kind of pranking them. This was not about pranking women. He's the asshole. He's the idiot, but he was legitimately trying to find love.
How did you pitch it to them?
So it was approaching, out of all the websites, which is infinite, like hundreds. It was basically saying, "Hey, I really like you. We'd love to go out on a date with you." And they would say, "Okay, let's go out on a date." And we're talking about 1,000 women a week that I would approach. 1,000 on a
just
copy
the messages.
Yeah, in message, just copy and paste, send the same one to the girls, and then they would say, "Okay, let's say out of 1,000 women, half of them they would say, okay, let's go and do a date together." And then I would send a second message saying, well, by the way, I would love to document. I'm an Italian. I'm documenting my search for love in America. What if I bring some non-invasive cameras? And out of 1,000 women, we wouldn't like it when we had 5 or 6 women a week in a town like LA that survives on entertainment that would say, yes, let's do it on camera. So that was the challenge that we had for a year and a half to shoot out the States.
That's why it took so long, because...
How many a week?
5, 6 dates.
Would agree to the filming.
Yeah.
And we get to see the most important ones.
Exactly. Yeah, there's a lot. And there was a real learning curve, too, because at first the dates were, kind of boring, a little, and sometimes... and then he would... sometimes he was a little too horny.
Well, I was gonna ask, were you conscious of the fact, because you're a performer by nature, were you conscious of the camera and then started to act up? I mean,
no, I mean, I never felt cameras. I don't. To me, it was a date.
Right.
You're on a reality show.
Yeah,
so
I
you
mean
forget
that
about
does.
cameras.
well, no, that's not. I meant I was trying to be nice about it, but like, were you ever on a date with a girl who was particularly dull, and then you're like, I better start getting some content here.
Well, yeah,
And then you talk about the clitorte.
you're right. There was a point at which we would have to kind of stack the deck in our favor a little
Sure.
bit. And like case in point, when we did the J date and we had her meet him at a really nice Italian restaurant, but I had him wear a yarmulke and a tallis. And thinking that literally in the first 30 seconds, she would be like, all right, this is your name is Domenico, you know. But she really started liking him, and at first he was like, "Yeah, my mother Maria Levi, her maiden name is Levi." And then, when he orders soup, he asks for some kosher. Can you put some kosher on top of the soup?
And she goes, "What is what do you mean? Kosher, the ingredient,
Yeah,
Put
I
some
like
ingredient,
kosher.
kosher."
And
She fills it in with salt.
yeah,
She fills it in
and Mike,
for
to
it.
answer your question, if it would get dull, he had a little earpiece that I was connected to, so I could, especially like at the J date, you know, I'm King Jew, I could give him some, you know, funny Yiddish words. All right, say, and who needs this mishigas? And he'd be like, who needs this mishigas?
How is your mishpolka?
Yeah, exactly.
But the best part for the J date is that apparently I forgot to mention the cameras in this specific date. So she shows up to the restaurant. And
Oh, you didn't tell her?
I didn't. And
But-
she
oh.
said to the producer, we said to her, well, are you ready for the cameras? We're going to put a mic. And she goes, what do you mean a mic? Oh, I guess I forgot to mention that
Oh, nice
there's
going.
cameras.
Oh, no, I feel badly.
Yeah.
But I did notice the sound was very good, so I thought, they
No,
must,
they
they
were
must
all-
be mic'd.
They
So-
all knew, and so because again, we weren't pranking them, and that was the problem. Was with all these dates, he's actually kind of charming. So
Yeah, well,
Extremely
so I want to
charming.
get into this. So,
Okay.
so what stood out for you? Because I'm imagining the things that stood out for him were different than what
Yes,
stood out for you.
very
and maybe
much.
even different than what stood out for
Okay.
you. So go ahead, Domenico, what stood out for you? It's just in the overarching sort of, did you learn something in an overarching fashion?
I mean, about the online dating world in general,
Or about yourself, or about women? Did something jump out at you as a result of this experience?
I mean, first of all, there is a division between websites and websites. So there are websites that you pay like $30, $40 a month, and that's when you meet the most serious people that are actually there to perhaps get married or find somebody to spend the rest of their
The
life
prime
with.
pickings.
Yeah. Then you have the Tinder, OkCupid, and blah, 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 where it's mostly sex. And you feel that. You see that. But overall, it's like I met...
What about Farmers Only? I've heard a lot about that.
I did Farmers Only, and we drove to Sunny Nats Valley to meet a farmer. And we got kicked out 3 times out of Farmers Only because... And another thing is you're touching people's private lives.
Yeah.
So they don't really want to unveil the fact, because online dating has always been stigma.
yeah, there was a stigma about
now
it.
it's a little better, but people don't want to tell everybody that they're dating online because it doesn't sound good. And so they kicked me out of Farmers Only 3 times because farmers are so serious about their private lives that when I would mention cameras, they would report me to whatever was the
Governing body
Yeah.
of Farmers Only.
And
That's
they would
right. I
automatically
think it's the Minister of
comment on-
Agriculture is actually in charge of that.
and they would kick me out automatically. But what I found out was that there were a lot of crazy women on normal dating websites and a lot of normal women on a lot of crazy dating sites. I mean, I went on.
What do you mean crazy?
I went on OkCupid.
What was a crazy woman?
Yeah, what do you mean
I mean, I went on a dominatrix dating website
Oh, yeah,
I saw that one.
where
Yeah.
she tortured me for 2 hours and she light me up on fire.
Did you watch the film?
There was
I've not finished with it,
But
but
you
I
watched also,
Yeah, I
okay,
got
so
about
you-
40 minutes.
so that
yeah.
was kind of painful, and everybody was laughing while I was dying with this woman.
But she was a lovely person.
She was lovely.
She was quite serious.
While I went on a date with an Indian girl from OkCupid, and we start talking, and all of a sudden she starts telling me how she likes to cut men's wrists and start
Oh,
sucking
yeah, she
their
likes
blood.
blood. That one was weird.
And I'm like,
So okay, so
I like to suck their blood. What do you mean?
Yeah.
I'm glad Ginger saw it because I'm wondering what stood out for a woman, and even so far as you've watched pretty well through. I mean, you
Yeah.
get the vibe of it. Does anything jump out at you about
Domenico's brajol.
Domenico or the women or the process?
Oh, well, I think as a whole, it made me think, oh, guys just need to learn more about women. You know,
Meaning what?
I just mean in general.
Because something like that jumped out at me too.
Yeah, I just think whenever, well, so you have interviews with the very like game type people, that early 2000s, like rules for dating chicks and finding stuff. Actually, that interview where the guy's like, you got to date, these are the tricks for doing this. Like people like that make me really think that prostitution should be super legal because like just don't manipulate anyone. Just deal with it. And I've seen wonderful documentaries with prostitutes where they're like really boss bitches, and it's like, you know, they only really have 6 clients a year, and it's like, oh great, this is a business for you, and it doesn't trigger you. But yeah, just that. And I don't know, the vegan girl stood out to me, because she was somewhat stereotypically annoying in her veganism, but also she probably knew herself more than any of the other girls.
Right.
And I just love that she's like, I have boundaries. These are my opinions in life.
But in general, that kind of thing jumped out at me about every single one of the women. From a male perspective, every one of those women was just in control.
You think so?
Yeah, they're all in control.
And that as a male, walking into that situation, you are losing your shit.
Yeah.
You are losing. And now you're probably familiar with it. It wasn't so bad. But even then, I could tell you're trying to navigate.
There is a lot of aspects
they're just.
Yeah.
Yeah, even when you're asking for the numbers.
I'll tell you yes or no in good time.
Yeah.
And that's, in the meantime, keep going, buddy. Keep dancing.
Yeah.
Just completely in control. That was shocking to me.
Well, there was one scene, there were a couple times, because during the dates, he would ask people about their experiences in online dating, how long have you been doing it, you know, so that we could be informative as well as entertaining. And whenever they would mention, he would say, "Oh, when was your last online date?" And they would say, "Oh, this afternoon." And he was offended. He felt like they were cheating on him.
Well, that's the other part I liked about it, is that his emotions were all real. And then I want to get into some of that a little bit in a minute. But did something jump out for you? Did you watch it, Mike? Did you watch the film?
I have not had a chance.
So.
What's interesting, and Domenico gets full credit for this. He said we should, not just the dates, let's interview these experts and these people that in some cases prey on the lonely for their Now there are some that there's a woman, Julie Spira, who's great.
She's great.
She is the
biggest probably expert on
online dating, who is really helping him understand the questions and what what kind of pictures you should be putting in. And that's like legitimately helping people.
Yeah, she seemed good.
Then there's someone, I probably shouldn't say his name, but like the guy you mentioned, who was very much like the game, like the hookup factor.
It wasn't Neil, though, was it? Was it
No.
Neil?
No, it wasn't Neil.
No,
That's the funny thing is. That's the funny thing is that Neil isn't that guy.
No, Neil's recovered from that, too. He went into it a little bit,
really?
and he had to actually really go through some treatment to recover.
Was it John Stamos?
It was.
Okay.
No, but originally we thought, well, when we meet these experts, let's really ask them ridiculous questions. Like, if I want to date a Jewish girl, do I have to pretend to be interested in Broadway shows and cruise ships? But when
am I Jewish? Wait
a second. But when we got to this guy, he started talking and he didn't stop. And I went around into Domenico's line of view and I just said, "Don't say a word. Just let him talk." And it was amazing. And I mean, the guy knew he was being filmed, and he truly believed what he was saying. And it was important. It's funny because we've shown this film theatrically a couple times, just in private screenings or
film
festivals. That scene. Each time, a couple of people have gotten up and walked out.
Oh my God!
Because they've been so offended by this guy, and
What does he say?
Yeah, but that's not your fault.
What does he say?
He says he goes down the line of women. He's like, "Well, Jewish women are fun. Oh, they'll let you do anything. You can pull their hair, jerk off on their face,
jerk off on their face." Was the?
It was real. I mean, it's disgusting what he was saying. And Domenico.
Also, it's always the grossest dudes that for some reason have the highest standards in chicks. I'm like, I didn't realize you deserved a 10. Like,
he's a successful,
he's
like,
very
it's like
successful.
Hitch, like the movie.
Yeah.
He's very, and he makes hundreds of thousands of dollars giving tips to boys every year to guys.
But it's not like
turn out to go and do a date.
Now I actually I hate the guys who go to him more than I hate him.
Yeah. He's just doing what he's doing.
He's making a great living,
But he was, and he was saying, "Oh, you got to network for pussy. That's you got to network." And so Domenico was great in that scene because he was like, "Should I make a pussy portfolio?"
Yeah, you should.
And he was like,
It's like, "Oh yeah."
That
So-
was
To
that
keep
was
track.
My, that
To
was
keep
my
track,
that was
right.
my first rap album actually.
Pussy
was
Portfolio,
yeah.
So so it was interesting. You know, I tried to make it seem that Domenico was not being complicit in what this guy was saying.
Sure.
Was that he was kind of like, very interesting. Like he is the fish out of water and taking it all in.
Right.
But
How does your very sincere Italian nature, how does it play out now in the uber sensitive world of man versus woman?
I mean, I think, meaning of what's going on
Well,
today.
listen, I've spent a lot of time in Italy. I've had the luxury of really involving myself in the Italian culture.
Where are you from?
Originally from the south of Italy.
Where?
Calabria. So it's a region right next door to Sicily.
course.
But I grew-
Calabrese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I grew up
Taurus.
in Milan, pretty much.
Milan. And you were.
I was
summer-
living in the Abruzzi, like
Yeah.
Castelvecchio, like that area for a long, and I got the chance to go, summer after summer after summer for months at a time, and really involve myself. And this is in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. I was recognizing, man, there is a huge gap in how these dudes talk to my mom and
Yeah.
how guys are normally talking to my, and frankly, how my dad would tolerate these guys talking. It was like, yeah, it's just part of the deal. And I'm like, oh, it's just part of the deal. This
It's-
maitre d is face fucking my mom. But all kidding aside, there is a much higher level of there's a much smaller personal bubble. With Italian men,
More
and
physical
there's
contact.
much more physical contact, and you're much more forward with your
But,
language. How did you ever find yourself getting in trouble just being yourself?
Well, here's the thing. In Italy, whatever we do to approach women in Italy, here we would probably be in jail.
Yeah.
It would be considered extremely sexual harassment.
And you don't mean that as a joke.
No,
You
no,
mean-
no.
yeah.
I'm seriously like the way they would approach women in Italy today. Still, it's probably a high level of sexual harassment in the United States, to the point that I had to be careful when I came here 12 years ago from Italy, because I had that feeling that I was, and to me it was normal. But women threatening me to say, "Hey, this is too much already." Blah blah blah.
Also, my cousin lived in Italy, French. She said she was schooled to really aggressively bat guys away.
Yeah.
and that when the women do that, the guys are wounded. Like, oh,
Yeah.
just so
Exactly.
beautiful.
No, you're
no
right.
big deal.
You're
and
right.
she goes, you got to learn right where that line is and come on like a hatchet. And they don't push through that. They go, oh, they're wounded and hurt and sort of back away.
And I don't.
We
think
don't have that. We don't have that dance. We don't have that here.
And I think that the women are way more discriminated in Italy compared to here. Like here, it's almost same level. In Italy, there is still a huge gap, even between jobs and everything like that. It's still a huge gap.
I try to say that.
men and women.
I say, look, American men are far from perfect. To female listeners or to female friends of mine, American men are far from perfect. But believe me, like we're doing pretty good compared to around the world. Like
Big
we
time.
try,
Big time.
we try.
Yeah.
yeah, and Domenico was very respectful of the women throughout the dating. It's funny, the only woman that you were really kind of forward with was the Italian. He went on ItalianSingles.com
Nice
date, and
I told her she looked like a whore.
uh,
I did.
but in a nice way.
In a nice.
Did she know the rules? Was she
slapped me.
and she smacked the shit out of him.
Well, no, but I said to her, because she was blonde with bleached hair, and I said, "You don't look like a typical Italian girl." And
You're
she
trying
goes,
to.
"Why?
You're a
What do you mean?"
sellout. Yeah.
I said, "You look like a very good-looking puttanone," which means I like a huge whore, and she's left me.
Yeah,
And did the relationship continue? Or
No, she walked away.
Yeah.
but it's funny you mentioned. So there were a number of these dates where they actually hit it off and ended up making out at the end. And every time that would happen, I would say, "Oh shit," because the movie's not about relationships; it's about the search.
Well,
It's-
the one I would talk about that amused me the most was you had to be watching very carefully what was happening to the two of them, but it was the one. First of all, I wonder if this was a pay site she was from, who wanted to go meet your family.
Oh,
Was
yeah.
that real?
Okay,
Yes.
So hold on. So I watched that unfold, and as it was unfolding, I thought, "Oh my God, he really likes her, right? You
Yeah.
really like."
Yeah.
Like I thought, "Oh my God, this is." And then she immediately responded with, "All right, let's go."
Yeah.
And then it became, "Well, where's the ring?" And then you were like,
She was
"Whoa,
crazy.
Yeah.
hold on."
Yeah.
So that was a very interesting interaction. I don't know. I didn't know what to make of it. I felt bad for you because it was somebody you really were attracted to and probably would have dated,
And-
and then it just went poof.
A little,
Crazy,
a little
so
cool, a
fast.
little crazy.
Yeah.
perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Too
then
much.
there
But
was.
then I wondered, is that part of the expectation of a pay site or the world we live in now, where if somebody really hits it off and women are really good at reading that, they know it's just all right. That's it. You know, yeah.
It's hard to say because, like he was saying, that there were some crazy women, or I should just say crazy people on the pay sites. Or on
Was
the-
that a
on
pay?
the-
Was that a pay one?
No,
which
there
one
was
was that?
OkCupid. There was OkCupid.
That's crazy.
Isn't it? Do you pay for OkCupid or no?
No, you pay only if you want certain things, but the basic
Oh, the
site
basic
is free.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Plenty of Fish was one where you have to be careful because it's totally free, and so you'll get people that like
With STDs full on.
they're
all the
missing
time.
appendages,
Yeah.
and it's kind of it's
Sweet.
there's something to be said about people that are willing to put money forward.
Yeah.
The sincerity of
They got
trying to
legs.
meet someone, right?
But there is also a lot of desperation. Like the people that they really want to find somebody, the people that have been there for a long time, and they're trying to rush almost. Like, okay, we gotta get this done fast.
The date.
The date, yeah. So
Well, that's what I thought this girl was doing in terms
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
relationship. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I've had enough dates. I know this is good. Let's go. Let's go.
So I and prior to filming, I went on a 6 months personal journey without any cameras, and this is
Oh,
when
right.
we were working, on figuring out how to do it. And I dated a lot of girls where they were like after 2 dates, they want to almost settle and be exclusive, and it was insane.
Well, that's what this. guy
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
This is after one date.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
And so
5
what
minutes.
is that a function of the people you were meeting, or is that a function of the way what social media or online dating is doing to people? You know what I mean? Is it they're so tired of milling through people that
Yeah.
once they find somebody they want to
yeah,
quickly.
and they're not fast. They say that statistically, as soon as they sit down, after 20, 30 seconds, when you start talking to them,
you said
you
that
know
to one.
already.
You say that to
yeah,
one of the girls.
You
and
know
and then you
already
asked
if you
her,
want to go out on
and
the
you
second
asked,
day.
was she the vegan? I can't remember which one that
No,
was.
she was someone who turned out to be an actress.
Yeah.
That was like, see, it's interesting because we've gotten some critiques, and the movie just came out a few weeks ago, I guess.
Where can people see it? What we're saying?
So it's iTunes, Amazon Video on Demand, or you can go to thelonelyitalian.com for all the different links.
And some good news that just happened last week.
We just sold it to Hulu.
Oh, fantastic!
So it will be on mid-December on Hulu, and hopefully they'll make a huge deal out of it. They'll treat it as like they have Star Wars in their hands,
But the reality is, I mean, you can't. Sacha Baron Cohen can't do Borat anymore.
Right.
He's too well known.
Right.
You did it, and I thought you did it in a topic that I think is really interesting right
yeah,
now.
and that's an important distinction because he's an actor playing a character,
No, I
and
get
he's
it.
really trying to get a rise out of people, and there's some impression points of
Yeah.
fish out of water, but this is really a guy,
That's him.
this
I
is
get
really
it.
him. But
I got to tell you something. As a viewer, that being a little bit of a question mark was kind of entertaining. Like, is that really him, or is he Sacha?
Well, it's
Yeah,
always
we
had
entertaining.
that.
It's
Borat?
always entertaining.
yeah, and
Yeah.
that's
it's
why
a Blair Witch factor.
a
Yeah,
little bit,
yeah,
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 and
yeah.
that's why we put that kind of mea culpa in the beginning, showing the MTV footage, because I didn't want anyone to say, "Wait a minute, that guy's from a reality
Yeah.
show. This is bullshit."
Smart.
I wanted to show, okay, this is what I did. I don't do this anymore. And exactly what he said to me when he first approached me with this kind of thing.
Now, I interrupted. You were saying you'd been critiqued about something.
Well, yeah, a number of people said, I looked up these women. They're actresses. Well, yeah, because they're women who live in L.A.
Southern California, yeah.
They happen to
and
be
we're willing to be on camera.
And
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
willing to be on camera.
yeah, and that was our hope.
And I'm sure, and this isn't to say anything good or bad, I'm sure you selected attractive women. Attractive women,
Well,
Los
we had
Angeles
a lot.
County.
No, it was
there
really
was a lot of-
we wanted to
Okay.
be honest. We didn't.
Either way,
not
I'm
everyone's
saying,
a looker.
that
But
does up the factor.
I mean, no offense,
my
but look at
friends-
what we're look at our
You're working
canvas.
with.
That is a beautiful Romanesque man right there.
It's
He's
true.
right. He's right.
Love you.
How dare
Yeah,
you?
I agree.
But
He'll
so,
bring the calabrese sausage right to your dome.
Very hot and
But-
spicy,
Adore.
especially spicy.
But what's interesting about the way we made the movie, because we shot all those dates first and then figured out what the story is that the context that you see a date happen in the movie is not necessarily, and probably definitely isn't, the context in which it actually happened.
Right.
So an example being that woman that he actually ends up making out with. That happens, and I don't want to ruin the movie for the thousands of people that are now going to go watch it. But it seems like they hit it off, and it's kind of towards the end of his journey. We actually filmed that pretty early on, and had to then concoct a scripted reason why he doesn't end up with her.
Never heard this word. Concoct. I never heard
Yeah.
that
All right,
word
we're going
before.
to take a couple-minute break. Don't go away, anybody. We'll be right back. All right, it is fall and your immune system is about to get tested, everybody.
Oh, boy.
Not only does the changing weather mark the start of cold and flu season, it's also back to school time when kids become walking petri dishes. While catching something may be inevitable, there is no excuse for letting yourself get dehydrated in the process. So when you're wiped out with cold or flu, the first piece of advice always to drink plenty of fluids, but we seem to forget that. Now, once you've started feeling dehydrated, it's already too late for water or sports drinks. Rapid rehydration requires the proper balance of sodium, glucose, and water, and nothing gives this like Hydra Light. Hydra Light's formulation is based on established, proven science, and it is the simply best rehydration product I've found in this country. Hydra Light comes in great flavors, orange, berry, lemonade, and it's available in a pre-mixed drink, a powder, or what I prefer, those effervescence tablets. You just drop them in a glass of water or a bottle of water, off you go. It's like your own portable IV, but you can do it enterally. Compared to sports drinks, Hydra Light delivers up to 4 times the electrolytes with 75% less sugar. Hydra Light solutions are appropriate for all ages, and each bottle or package includes easy-to-use, easy-to-follow instructions. You can find Hydra Light at Rite Aid or online at Amazon.com. And for a limited time, our listeners can save 30% on Hydra Light. Just click the banner on our site, drdrew.com, and use the code DRDREWHY, DRDREWHY at checkout. That is DRDREWHY. Is she going to talk about it? Hey, we're back. Yes, we are talking about The Lonely Italian. We were also, I wish I could.
What we were talking about.
I want to get everybody included in all aspects of this show, including what goes on during the breaks. When you were growing up in Italy, did you always want to come to this country?
No.
Did not want to come.
I know.
Yeah,
I could have
okay.
cared less about you.
Okay, so fine. So, and then you wanted to be an actor, right?
Yes.
And you were doing well in Italy as an
No,
actor?
that's why I ran away.
So you ran away because you saw more opportunity here or more pay?
Well, no, it's complicated. I moved to Australia because in my sick mind I said, well, nobody, because in Italy you need to know people to work for TV or radio, anything. So I said, okay, I want to go somewhere that I could potentially, I was thinking England at the beginning, London, because it was so close. And I said, well, but I don't speak English. So I need to learn that first. So I went to Australia.
To learn English.
To learn English. Because I had an uncle that lived there. So I said, might as well just go there.
Somebody, all right.
So I was supposed to stay there for 6 months. I ended up staying almost 4 years because I met an Australian Sicilian girl.
They're so hot.
Extremely good looking.
Hot. Yeah.
Where were you?
Melbourne, Australia.
Oh, yeah.
And I met her.
You hear the accent? Melbourne.
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 And I used to work at her dad's restaurant. And 3 weeks in, I'm like, I really like that girl. And I was like a boss boy, basically, because I couldn't say any word in English. And so I saw the girl and I said, I really like you. Can I go out with you in my broken English? And she goes, you have to ask my father.
Oh.
The father, then I realized, was the owner of the restaurant. I never connected the two dots. So
Was he Sicilian?
Extremely.
Oh,
and,
good.
Extremely. And all
Did you pretend to be from Sicily?
No, he knew that I was from Calabria, but all I know is that from busboy, I then became a pizza maker overnight.
Wow.
Because he was in charge of the pizza section.
Wow.
And as I'm stretching pizza with him, I'm like, look, I really need to ask you something. This was insane. Like,
wait, hold on. Why do you make you pizza? Just because you went up to him?
Because he's Italian.
No, I was making pizza because I got moved up in position from busboy to pizza maker, so he could control me better.
Oh, because you asked about the daughter.
Not yet.
Not yet.
The daughter told the father
Oh,
that
the daughter.
I wanted to go
got
out.
it. Okay, got it.
So
we want to keep an eye on you.
As I'm there, I'm about to reveal the fact that I want to go out with her,
Yeah.
and I said, "Look, I really want to tell you something, but I'm scared because it was very scary looking." And I'm like, "I would love to go out with your daughter." And he was touching his mustache like in those movies, and it's like, "Oh, man, I don't think, and it's like, I don't think there is anything wrong, except that you would never have to leave Australia. If you want to go out with my daughter, you seem like an hardworking guy. Just stay here, and you're gonna be fine." So, and for a year, he didn't allow me to go out with his daughter at night because it was scared of me
reasonably
having sex with the daughter
Reasonably
at
scared.
night.
How old was she?
We were 21 years old back then. That's
Oh,
why I
yeah.
used to have sex during the day instead of night.
Yeah, there's ways
Good
around
job,
it.
good
sir.
job, Dad.
200
Yeah, high school kids have
You know
been
when
doing
that
it for
dough's
a long
rising? I'm just
time.
saying.
$250 a week.
Is what you made?
No, I was spending in motels.
The hotel.
Oh my god!
And then I realized that in Australia, this is the best part. What if he hears this? And then
Don't worry about it.
in Australia, when you want to rent a place, like a house that you want to rent, you go to the agency, and they have a map with all the places that they're renting. So I'm like, okay, I would like to see this place. They give you the map and the key, and they give you an hour to go and look at the place and
so
come
you
back.
didn't pay anything eventually.
For 6 months,
Yeah.
I will look at so many houses. And after 6 months, they asked me, they're like, why are you not interested in renting?
Why do they
You've been-
not know that? That's what's
Unbelievable.
weird.
This was literally the
220
plot of Curb Your Enthusiasm 3 weeks ago.
yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
kidding.
The 221-year-olds show up to look at a space.
Yeah, what are they
what,
gonna buy?
what do you think's going
Yeah.
But the bottom line was, then I went back to Italy to do stage.
on? So hold on. Did you break up first?
No, I didn't. I said to her, look, I'm going to go and do a drama school for 6 months. I'll be back.
Because you were itching to get back into acting?
Yeah.
Or what?
Yeah, I'm like-
It was always in the back of your mind.
Now I got the English language. I was actually able
Perfected
to...
English, I say. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And now I wanted to study it in my own language after I learned English. So I went back to Italy. Within 6 months, the father was so scared that the daughter would move to Italy that they pushed somebody into her life for, that was actually older, like 10, 15 years older than her.
It's Bill Maher.
Exactly. And within 6 months, I was about to go back to Australia. As we were talking on the phone almost every day, I'm about to go back and see my girlfriend of years, basically. And she goes, I'm getting married.
Oh.
And I'm like, it's impossible. You got to be fucking. It's not true. And she's basically telling me that if I don't go and rescue her, she's going to get married. And I got
It's like The Graduate. You just did you
So
fly
keep going.
home? Did you fly back to Australia?
This is your next.
No,
Australia.
I got a what was it? An Emirates ticket for airline. Emirates, the
United
airline.
Emirates Airline, yeah.
And because back then you could hold the ticket for a week. Now you got to buy it right away almost.
Right.
So 24 hours. Back then you could hold it for 1 or 2 weeks, something like this. This is 15 years ago. And I stopped it. I blocked it. And the trip was like 3 days later. And then I thought, should I go? Should I not go? And then I said, no, you know what? She played so good. I'm not going.
Oh, she blamed her for it.
Attaboy. Attaboy.
And-
So I ended up back in
Do you
the
know
States.
how
out
she
of-
is now?
She, it's funny because when I start working for MTV here,
She's
in
a
the
real
States-
estate agent getting anal. All these different various houses. Yeah.
No, when
Owns a
I
motel.
start working for MTV Australia called me to do 2 shows for them because that's Amore, as they have like 5 million Italian people living in Australia. It was the second most popular show on MTV. So they flew me to Sydney, and I took a week off to go and see my family. She found out that I was there, so she asked the sister that she wanted to see me. So bottom line, I saw her in a park where we used to make out. And she started crying, and she was 6 months pregnant with the same guy. Yeah, I don't know how the marriage is today, but that's
go.
So what's
Yep.
it like banging a pregnant chick?
Yeah.
and that's I ended up back in the States because I said, you know what? Now I can speak English. I guess the United States are the biggest country in the world for entertainment. Let's go. I wanted to go to New York. But then I realized they didn't like any Italians. They only like British people, American, or Australian to do stage.
Oh, stage.
Yeah,
Oh,
I never
no,
heard
that's for
about
sure.
any Italian making it in New York.
Unless you're some character actor,
Yeah, yeah.
doing some
Exactly.
No,
Italian
there's a weird thing with northeastern Italian Americans is that they get weirded out by real Italians because it's so actually divorced
Yeah.
from their culture.
Yeah, it's not
You're
They
right.
say
New
gabagool
York.
and shit, and it's
Right.
like when they hear
Yeah.
a real Italian, they're like,
Not
"Wait,
Sopranos.
wait,
Yeah.
you eat fish? No, it doesn't make sense."
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like
Yep.
So have you ever thought about getting the accent ironed out so you could do
No,
New
I
York?
look.
wrong with
I
you?
tried.
Now I like it the way it is. I'm just saying, but you could go back and forth if you get a coach.
I
and stuff.
did the Lee Strasberg Institute, which is probably one of the most serious acting
Yeah.
school in the United States. And those lovely people, they used to steal from me 12 years ago $1,100 a month to be in their school.
That's how much it
Don't
costs.
$1,100.
go to acting school.
That's
So what I
insane.
did was I paid for 3 months of school, and I had $1,200 in my pocket when I came here. So I tell you, it was very hard at the beginning. But I tried. I had an accent reduction teacher with the cork. They asked me to put a cork down. If you put a cork down, you sound more like an American. And relax the jaw. It didn't work.
It's
Can
funny,
you do an impersonation? I mean, like,
Yeah, I
can
always
you
like
be
this, yeah.
do Bruce Springsteen or someone really super American?
I don't know.
Just try to speak like
Final.
what,
Yeah,
if
do
you were
that-
making fun of an American and like quoting them, how would you say it?
Well, I go to Texas all the time. Those people, I don't know. I can't. I'm from. No, I can't. I can't do
can't do it.
accents. I
It's
can't.
hard.
I gotta
It's
just do
hard to
these.
It's hard to do accents.
Yeah.
Adam Carolla's barber one day was saying, "Well, Adam, I think he's Hispanic. I just sold my bobo for a salve." And Adam goes, he sold your Bobo for a Sov. He goes, because you can make the B and the V sound. Why can't you line them up
You
with
just interchange them.
And
Yeah,
so
yeah,
he went adamant, and the guy was like, "Oh, okay." They were here in the video. We couldn't. We were talking
Nice.
over. So why don't we?
Do you want to play the other one?
Let's play. We've got
Well,
another one.
we gave that one away, so let's.
Well, no, let's.
The vegan day.
Oh yeah.
The vegan day
Okay.
is pretty intense. So that's
That's a
even
good-
though we've spoken about it, that's a good one to
so
play.
that's an example of that's a real date, but we kind of stacked the deck in our favor to make sure that it was
Sure.
going to be. He didn't really understand what vegan was until I gave him some
Cheese.
meats and cheeses and some wine and kind of accidentally, quote unquote, forgot to give him glasses.
I mean,
and
not to
things
sound like an idiot, but a vegan to me is somebody that wants to eat vegetables.
right. You'd think
It's not somebody that hates other stuff.
Right.
It's somebody that always. It's not about the hate.
The hate is for anyone who's not a vegan.
Right.
In Italy, we don't really have vegan people. We hate vegan people. We kill them.
Yeah, you
What-
eat them.
what did you call
You
them?
actually
In
eat
it,
them.
the
They're
enemy,
called the Huns?
nemici, maledesti.
They were called the hordes. Did you, Ginger? Did you go to acting school at some time?
I took 2 acting classes and I was like, peace.
Peace out.
This is dumb.
Where are you from?
But I did improv.
Where'd you grow up?
Northern California.
Oh, okay.
It was just like garbage.
Yeah.
I was like, why am I here with listening to all this garbage?
And yet, improv though it's interesting because improv is really the same skill set of listening and reacting and
it's
being in the
way
moment
better.
and all that stuff. But it's a more authentic version of that because you have
Yeah.
to create, you have to write it yourself.
Well, yeah. So it's more for your brain, but it also makes you a way better actor than I. Yeah, I mean, I only took 2, but anyone I know that talks about all their acting classes, I'm like, oh.
Is in
What if
porn.
it sounds
How did you
awful?
get
Yeah.
How did you get off into comedic acting?
I graduated college earlier because I got into the Groundling school, so I went to the Groundlings.
Here, she
First.
didn't leave
Here in
college. She
LA.
graduated college.
The
early.
groundling is great.
Well, because I auditioned and I got in, and I was like, I have to go there.
And so she just wrapped up college.
Did they, by the
Wrap
way,
this up real quick.
did they ask you to pay for classes at Groundling? Because I went to Groundling. They said, okay, we'll take you, but first you got to take level 1, 2, and 3, and then we'll take you. So I know it was like
I didn't
okay,
have to do those ones.
But,
I
but
just,
that is, I hear that happens.
Yeah.
because
a lot.
And I thought it was great when I went there and do it, but
I
it was like
loved
you got to
it.
pay this and that. And like, okay, it's like another Lee Strasberg Institute, $1,100 a
business.
month.
yeah, you still have to pay for the classes.
And so you ended up that pushed you towards comedy.
Yeah.
The Groundling thing.
And then I was on a waiting list for Writers Lab, and so then I started doing stand up, and then
I've never seen your stand up.
then
When are you got it coming up?
I'm getting back into it now. Yeah, I'll let you guys know.
She had to.
I've been doing it in
She had a real
character.
speed bump, but she got caught jerking off in front of people.
Yeah, the thing is, I
That was
asked
your
people
thing?
I could whip out my badge.
So
And,
There you are. Hey, do you mind if I bring this out?
excuse
So-
me,
so-
ask permission.
but in your day, with your day film, go see it. That was not comedic.
No, that's probably the first dramatic thing I've done, other than Togetherness. Togetherness
But hang
on
on,
HBO.
that was
Oh, what a show.
profoundly. That was there was profound acting in this.
Oh,
thing.
thank you.
So is that just something you just could pull on from your improv stuff? Or?
Yeah, I honestly I think a lot of comics who know how to act really well. I just think you figure it out if you know how to do improv. You're free. You trust you. The thing about improv is you have to kind of tell yourself whatever's going to come out of my brain is the best.
Was Jason part of the amplification of those feelings for you? And Jason Ritter, I'm talking
You
about.
know what it was? It was the way that when I did a Duplass show on HBO, it was like the first time anyone was like, "Hey, we trust you. Like, just be awesome."
Encourage
and
you
it's-
to be good,
Yes,
yeah.
and it was like I have so much freedom. I can say we improvised a lot. We could say whatever we
It
want.
was your film.
But I mean on Togetherness. So
Togetherness.
for my short. And I think, Jason works on a lot on the indie circuit, so I know he's comfortable with that. Like, obviously, we did it as scripted, but, there's I made it very clear that we could say whatever we want. When you can say whatever you want, it becomes natural. You can't act when it's actually coming out of
It's
your
just
brain.
the moment.
Yeah, and just knowing if someone gives you the freedom to, like, muddy up their lines or, just kind of ride whatever wave you end up being on, and then the director brings you back and you go on another wave. Like, I don't know, it's just also Jason and I had a lot of trust for each other. It was just magical.
But you were directing it too.
Yeah, which was a lot of work. So I just did a lot of prep, and then with Jason I made sure that
What goes into prep?
Well, I mean, my shot
Enema.
list and an enema and yeah, just so much of my entire shot list and communicating that to everyone. But also with Jason, because when you're directing something that you're also acting in, there's a real fear that your other actor is gonna feel really judged while you're acting, and especially in
or
my
weirded
film.
out, like you're in some weird condescending space automatically.
Just the idea that you could be in the middle of one of those moments, just go cut.
And with our film, it's like we're in such a vulnerable place. Like, last thing you want to do is like, oh my God, thank you for crying and opening yourself up to me. I just want to like fix that, tweak that. So what I did with Jason is we were so pressed for time that I could be like, hey, we're gonna do whatever we want, but I just want you to know I have these predetermined choices that I'm going to throw at us so that I can cover myself when we edit. And by saying that, I hope it conveyed to him, this is not a note on your acting.
These aren't acting.
I already had these because I'm scared because I can't look at the monitor. And we did. We got like lots of different versions for every day.
Back to The Lonely Italian, we now do have that clip. Is there a website I think can people
Yes,
read
thelonelyitalian.com,
Lonely
which has
Italian.
links to all the different platforms you can see it on, as well as clips and trailers. And
Okay, now here comes the clip of the vegan.
okay.
We're just going to sit quietly and listen.
So I brought a bottle of wine, some napkins. Good. Hopefully you like it. It's soppressata and asiago cheese. It's Italian. It's really good for aperitif. And then I got the wine.
Why would you bring this?
It's aperitif time in Italy. Aperitif, you do have a little cheese, a little meat, and then a little wine.
I told you that I was a vegan, though. It says it on my profile.
Vegan means you like vegetables too. I didn't bring in the vegetables
No,
today.
vegan means that I don't like meat. This right here is murder.
Isn't a vegan like vegetarian? Like you like vegetables?
No, this means I don't eat meat. That's not right. That's just wrong.
I have another one. This will keep it close so I can eat.
You brought two of them?
I had two because I didn't know how much we were gonna
That
eat.
is ridiculous that you would do that.
So let's do this. What about cheese? Cheese is no meat.
No, the vegans don't eat cheese either. Maybe this is a language barrier. Vegan means that you don't eat meat, you don't eat cheese, or nothing that comes from animals, because it's not right.
And I grew up in like in south of Italy where people just go with meat, and actually we kill the pigs and then we roast while they're still bleeding. That's like an Italian tradition over the 15th of August, which is St. Mary's Day. On St. Mary's Day, you get the beer, you put it in the river, like it's so they keep it cold. And then literally, you grow a pig for 3 months, you feed him until it blows, and then you release it in the forest with your friends, you go and catch it, then you stab it under the throat, and so it walks a little bit, and then...
Can we just talk about something else, and could you not eat that in front of me?
I'll take these.
No,
I put it back in the...
Put it in the bag.
Let me see if I can put it in there. Because my shoe is...
Seriously? You're seriously gonna do that?
So,
That is so fucked up. I'm not even gonna...
no, I was trying to... No, I promise.
No, you're...
I spit it.
That is fucking disgusting.
I spit it out.
You are disgusting.
I spit the thing out.
Domenico just is regaling us with stories about what barbarians he and his people are. Apparently,
We take a baby pig.
Quite a distance from veganism.
Yeah, it is.
Go ahead.
Well, no, I mean, we have this...
Send your cards and letters. What's your Twitter handle?
It's a tradition in Italy that we, especially on August 15th, which is the biggest day of summer for us, it's St. Mary's Day. We get a pig when it's a little baby pig, and then for months we grow it like crazy. And when it's about to blow on August 15th, we release it in the mountains. And all the friends, it's a hunt to the pig, and we actually use knives and we stab the pig under the throat. And then we roast it and all day, basically. And then at night we eat it.
And you had to tell that to a vegan.
I know.
Is it an entire community that does it, or families that do it? Is there multiple pigs running around? You know what I mean?
It's different animals from different regions. So in Italy, we have in Calabria we have pigs. You go in Sardinia, it's sheeps. It's several areas that have several animals. I mean, back in the days, this is sad, but in Veneto, the Veneto region where Venice is, it used to be cats.
No.
Cats. They used to eat cats.
I'd like to resuscitate that tradition in Venice, California, because there's a bunch of fucking cats bothering me.
Let's get rid of
I
those
will
cats.
murder them and eat them.
You got a very high compliment on Facebook Live. I'm looking at right now. You got compared not just with Borat, but Windy City Heat. If you've seen Windy City Heat.
What is
nice.
It's very.
It's a movie that you'll never see.
You'll never see it. I'll tell you later.
I used to have a VHS copy.
It's Adam Carolla and Jimmy Kimmel's finest hour.
Ah.
That,
So we are into cold cats and meats in Italy and cheeses.
Right.
We survive. We have a country that lives on those things. So
I don't know. I have a real problem with. Like I said, if you choose to not eat meat for moral reasons, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
Good for you.
just do it on your own.
Don't tell me about how I should,
Yeah.
because I'm guaranteeing I'm healthier than you are.
probably,
You know.
I think we posted that clip when the movie first came out. We got some angry,
yeah.
Angry
responses.
meat eaters?
No angry vegans.
Oh, well,
yeah, they were
that's all
pissed.
there is.
Right. You've never been to conscientiousvegans.com?
I have not met a lot of vegans that are just like cool to live with, and they're like, oh, cool,
I
man,
was a
you make
cool
a choice.
vegan,
Was
but then it made me really sick.
you liked having friends more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
made you sick?
Yeah, the vegan diet can by default has a lot of fermentable foods in it, so a lot of people get SIBO when they're on it. Small.
SIBO sounds like a
SIBO.
gangbanger.
SIBO.
Now I just sound like
Didn't
an
he
old
sing
lady.
Crazy?
It stands for like small intestine bacterial overgrowth. Basically, the bad bugs are beating out the probiotics that you have in your
How
body.
did you know you had that?
Because I looked 5 months pregnant.
The bloating.
Even though I wasn't, yeah.
Did you have malabsorption or anything too? Or
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And then I got like super, super skinny but then I was like, oh, I guess this is why vegans are so skinny. They're just like don't absorb
They're
all
ill.
the nutrients and they pee out of their butt all the time.
I mean, I stopped
That's cool,
eating
vegan life.
meat because I live in Venice too, in a place where I can't grill anymore because the alarm goes, the fire alarm goes off right away as soon as I put a piece of meat on the grill. So I don't have to go through that anymore. It's been 2 years where I've been just eating meat probably once every month and a half when I go out.
When you can find a cat.
What
I can't grill anymore.
What I don't understand about vegans is, and I respect, they're probably a lot healthier than I am, but why do they eat foods that are made to look like meat foods?
Right.
If you're anti-meat,
It's like a lesbo trying to get her girlfriend to look like a guy. It's
Right.
like the most.
it's a very good
I think
analogy.
it's trying to bring in the meat eaters. Trying
Yeah,
to
yeah,
bring on
yeah.
board other types.
Well, and
'cause
like
there's-
most vegans grew up not vegan, so you're like associating like, oh, this is gonna taste kind of like a turkey.
Well,
Right,
Or it's gonna
there's
be
that,
prepared.
there's that and a lot of,
Things
you should
spicy.
try their turkey. It's just like turkey. Look,
Yeah.
it looks just like turkey. It tastes just like
But shouldn't
turkey.
you not want to eat turkey if you're a
Yes,
vegan?
you would think, yeah.
Now, I forgot who, it was like Fatburger or something. They've got, I think they call it like the
The
Impossible
Impossible
Burger.
Umami Burger has
Umami.
it. Jaden Smith is curating.
It is so good.
It is
know.
good.
Oh
But they
my
put-
god!
They
You
put,
can't,
Yeah.
you literally, it's impossible.
but
You
don't
don't
Yeah.
they
get it.
put beet juice in it to look like the blood coming
Yeah.
out?
Well,
It-
it's
No.
unbelievable. That's a great burger.
Everyone
I'll tell
loves
you
that
something.
burger, yeah.
It's impossible. You literally like, I can't believe
It's
it.
was Impossible Burger.
Can't believe it's not butter.
All right, we got to start to wrap things up. So where should we look on Hulu for the
Hulu in
Italian-
mid-December.
Mid-December.
Otherwise, go to iTunes, Amazon, Video on Demand. We'll make more money if you do that.
Or
Please.
just go on thelonelyitalian.com. Did I
Right.
say that right? The accent? Thelonelyitalian.com.
Exactly.
Are you still lonely?
No. Oh, tell them.
Okay.
You
so-
watched the movie.
Oh,
No,
never mind.
no, it's a difference.
Okay.
Because it took so long to shoot it that by the time we were done with the movie, a whole new life came on board, kind of. So,
He's
while we
married
were,
to a pregnant Australian girl.
Yes.
yeah.
while we were shooting, towards to the end, one of the dates of the movie was a girl that I really liked, but then we were towards to wrapping, shooting the movie. I'm like, look, I really like you, but
The movie's over.
I probably have another 50 dates to go and do. Just stay here, wait. We'll see if maybe I come back.
Is it one of the ones we saw or not? Cut out?
She's in the movie for
For a second,
split
but
second.
we didn't film their date.
Okay.
The one date we didn't film, he ends up with her.
Oh man.
But the bottom line is, out of OkCupid, months and months later, we were done and start editing and everything. I started dating a girl that I met while shooting the movie, and we're getting married next year.
Oh my god.
In Italy.
This girl we're talking about was the
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. So on June
Congratulations.
23rd, I will get married for the first time. Yeah.
And then there will be some
Just
more.
And-
maybe it's sort of a wish in this country, but for the first time, it's supposed to be the only time.
Yeah.
But online dating, at the end of the day, it does work.
And
It does work.
And I will say, there's kind of if there's a message, as silly as the movie is, it's that you can stack the deck in your favor with all the technology at your disposal. But at the end of the day, that elusive thing called love, that something, is not going to find you until the universe, God, fate, whatever.
There's no algorithm for it.
There is, right.
Yeah,
so
they all know that. All the dating sites know that. But that's why people shop.
Yeah,
that's what they're doing. They're kind
that's right.
Human shopping.
I need to go to Umami Burger tonight. Just so you know.
Yes, seriously.
That's my plan right now. Where should we look for you guys next?
Where are you next?
I'm bargaining with Discovery Channel Italy now to do a new show. They want an informational show from the States, but I want to do something else here in the States, which has to do with fears.
Fears?
So, fears. I'm working to write a new, something similar to The Lonely Town, kind of, not like, but in the same form, like a funny documentary, let's say, where I explore the United States people through their fears. Because the top 10 fears in the United States are all political related. So if we are in the situation that we are today politically, and a lot of other things, has to do a lot with the fears that American people have.
Let us know if you do it, because we'd love to. She'd be great on KBC
I'm
with that
afraid
one.
of clowns.
That'd be great for our KBC show. So please let us know. Please.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And Lee, anything? We should
I am writing and directing TV mostly now. Now that the soup is over, that 11-year run.
Juggernaut that never went away.
Well, I met my wife 3 months after the soup started, so she didn't. She thought, well, it's not too hard to be married to a show business guy. Things. That was.
Who was the host when you started?
It was Joel. It was always Joel.
Because I go way back to John.
Oh yeah, to John Henson.
To John Henson.
Yeah,
I go back to Kinnear, but
Kinnear, yeah.
But Adam and I sat in once for John.
Right.
And I'll never forget. I hadn't thought of it in a long time, but Adam wasn't yet reading. Really, didn't really read. No, I'm not kidding. He was not taught to read in LA Unified. Well done, Los Angeles.
Oh man!
And he taught himself eventually and got pretty good at it. But at that point, it was an issue, and they wanted him to read these long things on the monitor. And he didn't want to really make an issue of it. He goes, "No, we're gonna go with it." And they had a big issue with it, and they went back and forth. And God bless Tommy, the stage manager.
Yeah.
If you guys know the soup well, he could have made peace, and we went ahead and
he's a pinball wizard.
I tried reading some and started letting him improv. And at one point, Adam went off in this diatribe about his penis and how he kept a snow globe around so he could hold it by his penis, so all the little villagers would think he had a giant penis to make him feel better. so it was a Christmas special.
Yeah.
And,
Oh my
and so he
God.
imagined this little village with giant snow. All right. Any event, Ginger, what's up with you? Where should we look for you?
Just my
Season?
film's on yourdayfilm.org, and season 2.
So I order everybody to go to Your Day Film, yourdayfilm.org. It's the film's called Your Day. Look for her on I'm Dying Up Here, which is coming up.
Well, watch season 1, and if you haven't, and then season 2 comes out. I don't know.
As soon as possible. Are you still filming it, or?
We haven't started. We start in January. Yeah.
That's a great cast. Must be fun.
I love everybody, and I'm so excited with my little pod of people, John Daly and Clark Duke.
I didn't realize the young kid that does the stand-up in the Delicatessen.
Michael
was also in that crazy film where he plays an Italian murderer. I forget.
He's in everything.
Yeah,
he's in Almost Famous. He's been acting for forever.
But he's very different in everything he does, so it's good on him.
He's in Stanford Prison Experiment. He's wonderful.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And Mike, we'll be at December 5th at the Ice House.
Ice House,
Anything
bitch.
else you want to talk about?
Butt to butt double dong.
Yep.
It's a useful tool.
On Mike's website.
Yeah.
Mike, would you like to take him with you? As he can,
You put one end, it's a double dong, and you put one end in one butthole, and then the other butthole backs in, and you guys just kind of.
But here's the twist: his is made out of wood.
He's trying to understand.
I'm trying.
His Italian brain is trying to get around it.
I was trying my best.
I just understood when you said double dong.
Double dong, yeah.
It needs a good nickname. Like
B2B double D.
Yeah.
How did I get
You'll come up with other ones. Don't worry.
B2B double D? How about
anything on Facebook before we go?
Shark.
They all say Happy Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
the reciprocator?
That's a good one.
Thanks for watching.
All right. We'll see
Thank
you
you.
next
Ciao,
time.
ciao.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Yeah, there are a lot of factors that lead to recovery and particularly success in recovery, but programs that challenge patients, that don't gratify them, that often is the most effective. And that's what we like about Last House Sober Living in Los Angeles. Last House, structured program based on accountability and your actions, living a certain kind of life. Not like those luxury treatment centers that kind of feed the narcissism, entitlement, and selfishness. Last House works to combat the learned helplessness some of these millennials have. Also, device dependency. A lot of places shrink from that one. And the codependent family system that needs a lot of help. The community challenges addicts with disciplinary systems that teaches them consequences for their choices and actions. The program isn't easy. In fact, it's quite difficult. It's supposed to be difficult. It's hard work to recover. Their theory is, much like diamonds, recovered addicts are forged under pressure. If you or a loved one is looking for a program that aligns with so many of the characteristics we believe lead to a successful recovery, please have a look at Last House. Learn more, visit thelasthouse.net. Again, that is thelasthouse.net. Visit them today.
Remember, you can find all these podcasts at drdrew.com. The Dr. Drew podcast, the This Life podcast, and the Adam and Drew podcast, which is available 5 days a week. Find them all on iTunes and rate us 5 stars. Subscribe and get it first. And if you're really happy, click on the Amazon banner at drdrew.com to help support the show. We'll thank you for it. If you join the email list via drdrew.com/contact, we'll send you a weekly infusion newsletter with Dr. Drew's news. We're so grateful when you get in touch. We read all your emails and we'll bring you the subject matter you want to hear about.
You live.